Want to start a Chinchin business? Come. Today's video is on the mass production of Chinchin of different shapes and kinds. At the end of the video, I'll tell you how much I spent in total and you will be surprised. Not only are we looking at the frying method, we are also looking at the baking method. So let's get into the video. Into a bowl, you're going to crack 3 fresh eggs and you're going to proceed to the next step, which is adding 4 cups of sugar to your bowl. Mind you, this is the bowl where we'll be mixing the wet ingredients, so do not worry about the quantity. We are going to proceed to add 3/4 cup of evaporated milk. If you have powder milk, you can dilute it till you get to that quantity. Now proceed to mix with whichever tool you have available, be it a spoon, wooden spoon, or even a hand mixer. And you're going to mix just so everything properly dissolves in your bowl. Chinchin is highly recommended when it comes to starting a business. Speaking for where I'm from, in Cameroon, Chinchin is a proper snack that is sold on the streets and even in shops. Now we are going to proceed with the second stage, where we gather our dried ingredients together. Mind you, this bowl was small in mixing. Grab a big bowl. We used 12 cups of flour. When I speak of flour, I speak of all-purpose flour. That is the kind of flour that we used, and we are just going to sift into our bowl. First things first, this is to trap air and to get rid of dirt. I always strongly advise that you get flour which is void of such. We are going to add nutmeg, which is our flavor of choice, and we use 2 nuts. Whichever flavor you like is perfectly okay. You can use the milk flavor, you can use whichever flavor you love. Now we are going to add baking powder, and we use 2 tablespoons. And you're going to sift your baking powder. Baking powder is a raising agent, which is good. Now we are going to add our salt, and we used half tablespoon of salt. Next thing, we added 500 grams of margarine. Now there's a particular brand called Top Sao. That is the brand we used. So proceed to mash your butter and flour together until you get the crumb-like texture. As you can see, our bowl was not conducive for this process, so you can proceed to transfer into a bigger bowl and mix properly. When it comes to making chinchin, I would love to personally say it requires real effort, especially making chinchin in bulk. So please, if this is your first time here, my name is Lamin and I create content on food and lifestyle. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it so far. It is very important to like one's videos, I tell you the truth. So after mixing well, we are going to add our wet ingredients. The wet ingredients, which comprises of our milk, our eggs, our sugar. Yes, we are going to add it at this point, and we are going to give this a good mix. Now we are equally going to rinse the bowl and add some water. The quantity of water here is 2 cups. In the course of making your chinchin, when adding liquid, you have to add your liquid based on how you are mixing. So after mixing everything, this is what we have, and we are going to proceed to the next stage, which is to knead our chinchin. Most people carry their chinchin batter to bread bakeries and ask for it to be well kneaded. Let me tell you something, when you knead your chinchin, nobody will tell you. Even the texture, even the looks and everything, it will show. Most people need it so it can double in size properly and is extremely smooth. However, in my area, most bakeries have refused to mix chinchin because they complain of chinchin batter being stronger than bread. I'm still to understand. Also, it consumes a lot of time. So if you cannot do that, then proceed to knead that at home as I am showing you here. Looking at these two, they are beautifully different from this particular one. So that is the difference between well kneaded dough and the one which has not been kneaded properly. Just take a look. For our third step, we are going to roll and cut our chinchin into our desired shapes and sizes. The rule is to knead your dough, cut into smaller bits, and then proceed to roll with a rolling pin. Now I would love to make mention of the fact that excess flour was not used. I have videos of other chinchin recipes and I'll leave them in the description box. If that is something that you'll be interested in, then please make sure to check it out, as one of the videos contains a clip where I used excess flour in dusting my chinchin and my oil had to spill. So this is one of the best chinchin recipes on my channel, which I am uploading today. So please do not forget to like. I am emphasizing on the word like so that you can tell YouTube that the videos are good and you do enjoy them. Please, that is a good review. Thank you so much for understanding. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. If you haven't shared this video to anybody who is looking forward to starting a business, or perhaps making this as a snack for their kids at home or during festive periods, please send this video to them, forward it to them, so this will definitely save them time. There are many chinchin shapes that I do know of, and one of the many shapes is the square shape. Personally, I love this because it is the elegant way of cutting one's chinchin. It makes it look so presentable. However, if you do not cut in a uniform shape, it is going to defeat the purpose for which you made it in the first place. So let you know that my chinchin is very good. The mixture is good because my chinchin is not sticky. I am going to put it together at different intervals for you to see. I'll mix it. So I am cutting without flour being dusted on my board whatsoever. And this is what we have. Now there is another tool that is used to cut chinchin, and this is a pizza cutter. I have it in previous videos, and if you click the link, you're going to find it there. You also have a chinchin machine that you're going to wind. It is like a grinding machine. I'll insert it on the screen, and it is used by most people who make chinchin for sale. This bulk orders, bulk commands, those people use the machine sometimes so that they can actually go faster. In this video, I am going to share everything you have to know with regards to chinchin production, from the do's and don'ts and most of the common mistakes that we make. So the very first is for you to buy very good flour. This is flour that is void of air and flour that has no dirt in it. Secondly, you need to be careful with the water content that goes into your chinchin. For 12 cups of flour, I used 2 cups of water. To some people, it is actually so much. So a free tip, whenever you want to make chinchin, make sure to add based on your eyeball test. When adding, add little by little and make sure to mix the little properly, so that by the time you are adding any other drop of water, you already know how your chinchin looks. Excess water in chinchin is not good. Your chinchin will not hold. As a matter of fact, it is going to become too soft. Most times, some people end up with liquid batter. This is the second type of chinchin design we'll be making today in this video. And this is how it is made. In other cases, people make it in bigger sizes. So you're going to chop your chinchin, as already seen, into cubes just like this, or bigger. That's if you want it bigger. And you're going to create a hole in the middle and send the other through. That is how you're going to repeat this process until you achieve the quantity you desire. Now, this one is usually made in bigger sizes here in Cameroon, and one of which costs 25 to 50 francs depending on the location you find yourself. So we are going to have a video on how to make bigger sizes of chinchin, because most times I realized we have been limited to the mindset of chinchin being small or tiny. No, chinchin has larger sizes and there are some people who love it. Now we are going to the third design, which is the part where you just roll and you cut into stripes, long, or you can flip and cut short. The chinchin is not sticking, and that is what I'm laying emphasis on. If after rolling and your chinchin swells up, then you're going to use your knife to press it. Did you know? I remember I was speaking about the butter content. The butter content in your chinchin has to be proportionate to that of your flour. If not, your chinchin is going to be extremely oily. There's this thing that butter does to batter most times. It helps in most cases when it comes to cakes and the likes of it. But you see, chinchin, butter just makes your chinchin to become extremely oily. For some people, they add it so that it can be soft. That's if you don't want crunchy chinchin. Over time, your chinchin might equally become less enjoyable, especially if it has trapped some air in it. Same thing applies to excess sugar. Have you ever kept sugar on a surface and just let it sit in the open? When you come back, you realize that it has melted and it is sticky. So that is what excess sugar does to your chinchin dough. It makes it softer and sticky. I always express that excess of something is not good, and this equally applies to foods, pastries, and all of that. So after slicing or cutting our chinchin, we are going to spread in a tray. If you are frying immediately, then do not dust your tray with any flour. It is perfectly okay, but if it is going to be there for a long time, then you can dust with some flour. Now into our hot pot, we are going to add oil, and I use total 2 bottles, which sums up 3 liters of oil. So I am going to let my oil get hot, and I'm going to proceed to start frying. Now when it comes to frying chinchin, we all know that it needs or requires the deep method of frying, and your oil has to be hot, else it will sink and absorb a lot of oil. Also, before frying, we know the test, which is to drop 1 or 2 and see if they will float. If they float, then we are going to take them out and start our frying process. This is a clear indication that our oil is hot. So we are going to fry tray by tray. There's something I would love for you to know, which is when adding your chinchin, please don't stir immediately. As you can see, it is finding its way. Most of them are already floating. After adding everything, that is when you can stir. I'm not saying you should let it sit for a minute, 2 or 30 seconds. That's too much. But this is just to let you know that when you add chinchin to hot oil, you do not just start stirring, or in the course of adding, somebody is stirring. No, I can tell this mixture or recipe is a good one based on how our oil turned out to be. I will tell you for a fact that the recipe is good because it did not cause our oil to overthrow. In most cases, when that happens, you have to understand that the fat content in the dough is too much, and this happens in situations where there is excess butter, and in other cases where there is excess flour in the chinchin. Most times, some people say when you add baking powder in excess to your chinchin dough, it also causes that effect or that reaction. But I am not quite certain with regards to baking powder. If you are familiar with that particular reaction, please let me know in the comment section. So this is what we have. As you can see, we started with high heat and we are gradually reducing it. Excess heat when frying your chinchin is definitely going to make it burn. So you have to understand that if you start with high, try to regulate. So your chinchin might end up getting brown faster, whereas it is not ready at all. So try to regulate. Now we are going to proceed with the next, and that is it for it. When frying chinchin, you also have to know that if you settle for an ideal color, you have to stick with the color. This is said with regards to packaging. If they all have a uniform color, then you definitely sell well, as most times people eat with their eyes before their mouth. When chinchin cools, it actually attains its original color, which is it might either become darker or perhaps just light brown. As you can see with this one, we did not let it sit on the fire for so long, so when it actually cools down, it might darken just a little, but will settle for the golden brown. So whatever you want to do about your chinchin business, I have said everything that you need to know. If you have any further questions, please let me know in the comment section. If you want to start a chinchin business, I have given you 3 healthy designs, and we are going to look forward to more. Do not forget to like. I am only repeating like. Please like my video. Just by liking my video encourages me as well. It makes me feel I am doing something and you are actually learning. Maybe somebody's learning from it, which is a huge encouragement. That is all you can do for me by watching, subscribing, liking, and sharing my video. So when it comes to packaging, you have to understand that after frying your chinchin, you need to let it cool for just a bit. In most cases, people don't package on the same day. That is because they do not have enough time, or maybe do not have their packaging supplies available. So you can put this in an airtight container and package the next day. Even a plastic, you can tie it in a plastic and package the next day. However, if you must package on the same day, you will just have to let it cool a little, let it cool down. so that you do not end up packaging hot things and it ends up sweating. So this is what we have regards to this shape. And for the baking method, you need a parchment paper, of course, and spread your chinchin on it. From time to time, you're going to turn it, regulate the temperature. I also love to say it is good for you to preheat your oven. It is good, and we'll talk about that in my vlogs. Now this is what we have and we are settled. I promised to reveal the cost of everything, and in total I spent 6,200 francs, and that is because after frying my chinchin I was left with a liter of oil. So that is where the deduction is coming from. That being said, I have stated everything I know about chinchin, the do's and don'ts, why your chinchin turns out this way and that way, and packaging. With regards to packaging, in most cases we use bottles, we also use plastics, and per plastic we buy for 200 francs, and for bottles you can ask your suppliers. Here in Cameroon they are quite expensive, those fancy bottles. A dozen will cost 6,600 francs excluding delivery fee. So if you want to sell from 1 liter, you can just get a dozen. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in my next. Bye.